What up, guys? This is Spunky J. I'm just gonna go ahead and do top 5 biggest mistakes I've seen in martial arts fighting. So, without further ado, guys, let's just go ahead and get started. I'm gonna try not to rant, too, by the way. So, number 1 is scrunching up when people get in close. When people go in for short range fighting, naturally a person is gonna want to scrunch like that. But that's the worst thing you can do, guys. Okay, never do this. I don't care if it's for blocking. I don't care if it's for anything. You always want your arms out and extended, ready to attack, ready to block. When you do this bullshit, okay, it looks like a turtle hiding in its shell. You're creating so many openings, and not only that, is you're creating visors around your peripheral vision, and you won't be able to see shit. You're giving your opponent the opportunity to do so many attacks that he knows you can't even see coming. It's complete and utter bullshit, guys. I know that it's the natural reflex to want to try to do that, but you have to learn to just not be afraid of your opponent. That's the number one thing. So remember, keep your arms out. You know, there's a lot of things you can do if they get in close. You're just pushing them away. Like, people don't think to do that. You know, take them out of your center, you know, of attack. You just push them out, and that's all you got to do. But you know, there's other stuff too, but you just got to keep it simple if you're a beginner, anyways. But number 2 is people don't know targeting. A lot of people, and I'm not just picking on MMA. All right, I know I was talking about blocks, but even karate people, like, they don't understand that there are so many open targets on the body a person can go for. But a lot of times, you know, people, for whatever reason, they just want to go for the headshots because they think, I guess that's, you know, the most effective way to knock someone out. Or the thigh shot. In MMA, you know, you see a lot of thigh kicking. The funny thing is, when I watch UFC, I don't even see a lot of people go for the kidneys. Hitting a person in a kidney is extremely painful. If you're a boxer, you know what I'm talking about. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. I really can't even describe it, and you can seriously hurt a person if you do it right. But you know, you got to realize that hitting a person in the head is just one of many targets. It's just, I guess people think that you got to knock a person out to win a fight. You know, I guess we've been brainwashed by this primitive culture we live in, to where you have to brutalize your enemy. It's really sad, though. You know, I can't even watch UFC fighting. I'm not going to go into that, but it's just so primitive to me, and it's just sad, really. But so yeah, number 4 though is people, or number 3, I mean to say, is people aren't offensive enough. I'm sorry, they're not defensive enough. I'm tired. You have to excuse me, guys. Being the defensive fighter, and I've said this before in other videos, is the most effective fighter. When you can see what's coming from your opponent, you've already won the battle. It's brains over bronze, you know? That's pretty much how it goes in fighting. The smarter fighter will win. It's pretty much inevitable. It doesn't matter how much stronger your opponent is. If you're smarter than he is, you're going to kick their ass, and they're going to get humiliated by all their friends. Trust me on that. But yeah, learn to just, there's so many ways you can block. And again, don't do the stupid turtle, you know, the dumb hide in the turtle shell bullshit. If a person's doing a roundhouse kick to the head, well then yeah, you can block like that, but otherwise it's a very dumb thing to do. You know, the 8-point blocking system, the old school karate, it's perfect because you can do blocks against every sort of attack. Downward block, upward block, side block. I mean, this is like the most, you know, generic block there is, but it's so effective. But yeah, guys, you know, you gotta learn to just use your whole body, and that's another, like, I guess point number 4 is you use your whole body when you fight. When you attack, you put your whole body into it. A lot of these fighters, you know, both karate and MMA, they don't put their whole body into their fighting. I will say though, with MMA, they actually do somewhat of a better job because they really put their hips into their punching. Karate doesn't really do that, although they do step into their punches, which does add power. MMA guys, they keep their feet real close together when they fight. They don't really step into their punches. But when you step into a punch, you'll add a lot more momentum and force. Also with karate, when you move your arm, okay, as you're punching, you're also creating momentum and power. You're using your other arm as kind of like a, I guess, leverage to just add inertia to your punching, and that's a very, very important thing to do. You know, people think that old school, you know, putting your hip, you know, hand at the hip, they think it looks dumb, but there's actually a reason for it. It actually adds power. So anyways, guys, I don't know what the last point should be. Really, I think the number one mistake fighters make is ground fighting. I'm not biased. I know it may seem like it, but wrestling to me, it's just dumb, primitive fighting. And people who wrestle are normally just drunken rednecks or, you know, I don't know, angry Russians. It's not fighting to me. That to me is just, it's barbaricness. Humans are not animals. We weren't meant to fight on the ground. I don't know how this whole wrestling culture got so popular. I mean, I know it's been around for thousands of years, like with Greco-Roman, you know, shit like that, but I don't understand why this people still wrestle. And I'm just gonna be real. When I watch UFC, seeing these guys wrestle on top of each other, you know, their little fucking spandex underwear, it makes me cringe. Like, it looks like gay porn. I'm just keeping it a buck here, guys. It looks like homoerotica. And why people think that's badass or cool is really beyond me. I wasn't gonna try to be, you know, rude in this video, but I just have to be 100 on that shit, man. I don't see why people enjoy watching that, unless you have some kind of fetish for it. But other than that, I mean, when, on all seriousness though, guys, when you wrestle on the ground, you're leaving yourself vulnerable. You know, you don't have the same agility that you would have standing up on your feet. I don't care how good you are, you know, if you're like a BJ Penn, or if you're like, you know, one of those other really great ground fighters in the UFC. You're always going to leave yourself vulnerable if you're on the ground. I mean, it's that simple. I don't know what else to say about that, really. But yeah, that's really all I got, guys. The most important thing, though, is putting everything you have into your attacks and being a defensive fighter. So if I could sum it up, that will help your game out more than anything. The number one thing I've noticed is that these so-called great fighters, you know, in the world, and I'm even gonna add Bruce Lee in this because I think he was too aggro. You have to find a balance between defense and offense, and when you can find that sort of balance, you're pretty much untouchable. No one's gonna be able to fuck with you, especially if you know different styles. You have to learn different styles, even if you don't implement it into your fighting. Just knowing how to go up against the opponent is, I mean, again, it's just brains over brawn, guys. That's all it is. Fighting wasn't meant to be that complicated, though. You know, people like Wing Chun. It's just, I find that style kind of laughable, honestly. It looks like patty cake to me. There's really not even a lot of power and force into the movements. It's just, guys, you gotta be careful out there, man. When you try to make your fighting into like a game of chess, you know, this algebraic equation, it's not good, man. It's not good. You're gonna get seriously hurt. So, guys, be careful what you do, okay? Don't, you know, don't fall into some of these bullshit so-called styles. I don't even like a lot of new age karate, like Shuri Ryu. That to me is way too aggro. Not even a huge fan of Shotokan. To me, it's just like kickboxing. There's no difference between that and kickboxing. But Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This is Punky J, and I hope these help you, man. And remember, guys, just avoid a fight at all costs possible if you're ever in a confrontation. It's not worth it. It's not worth going to jail, and it's certainly not worth your life. So, see you guys next time, and peace.